Hi, and welcome to another Pokemon Go adventure. If you followed a few of my videos today, we basically went around. I spoke about gyms and IVs and tried to track down an Arcanine, which we were unsuccessful in doing. Sorry, a Growlithe. If you did watch that video, I did manage to track down Adelaide Street. It was in the shopping centre itself. So where you drive into the car park, that's what Adelaide Street was. So the reason I was driving around the outside of it, trying to look for Adelaide Street, I don't know. It was right there in the centre, but unfortunately I missed it. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to take you through the Pokemon that I've currently got, how they're sitting, and just talk a little bit about my strategy in playing Pokemon Go as well. If you did watch my video on the IVs, I'm going to touch base on that a little bit again as well. So if we go in here and have a look at the Pokemon at the moment, I've got them arranged by number there, and you'll notice that down the bottom of the Pokemon themselves, I've changed their names to the actual IV percentage. Now the way you can work out the IV percentage is there are a lot of websites or apps that you have to actually physically go in and enter in the hit points, combat points, and how much Stardust it costs to level up. It is really time consuming. I literally went through and wrote down all of my Pokemon's stats, entered them in, and figured them out. However, I have come across another app which is called IV Go, which I'll bring up at the moment. It's this app here. If you can download it, I do recommend downloading this app. When I downloaded it, it was still in development, and I know a few people that I have recommended it to haven't been able to actually find the app and download it. But if you can, I highly, highly recommend it as an app to use for working out your IVs. So basically, what you do is you go in and when you first open the app, you link it up with your Pokemon Go account. And instead of entering in all your stats of your Pokemon to work out the IVs, this app will do it straight away for you. With some of the other apps, it only gives you a combination, which you have to then go through and try to work out whether your trainer has said he's got good attack stats and good defense stats, and then go through and work out what combination yours is based on the IV options that it gives you. This one does absolutely everything for you, which is why I highly recommend it. So you can see there from the top, I've gone through with the Bulbasaurs and Ivysaurs and Venusaurs. I've gone through and I've worked out all the IV stats of my Pokemon. As you can see, the Venusaur here, which is ranked 91% IVs, you'll see to the right there, it's got moves 2 out of 2. So him at 91%, up the top there, it'll tell you what level he's currently at, his current combat points, which is 1,816. If I was to max him out on his current level, he would be 2,271. At 100% next to that, you can see he potentially can be 2,304, and based on level 40, so when you max out at level 40, that's the maximum he'll be, 2,543, and at 100% he would be 2,580. Down the bottom here, it gives you your stats as well. So he's 13 attack, which is quite high. Max is 15 across all stats. Your defense is 14, and his stamina is 14 as well, which is why he's hit the 91%. In the moves, it gives you the combination of all their moves as well. So you can see he's got Vine Whip, which is his best quick move, and he's also got Solar Beam, which is his best main move. So out of all of them, you can come across, and he might be a good IV Pokemon, but if he doesn't have good attacks as well, he'll still be a beast, but he's just not going to have those strong attacks when you're battling in gyms and stuff like that. So if you go back out of here, you can see it also ranks it on a system of like 90, I think 90 up is S, anything above 95 is double S, and 100% is triple S. Anything below 90% is, so 80 to 90% is B, and I think, is A, and anything below 80% is Bs, and then working down Cs, Ds, Es, like down to your worst Pokemon. So we can also bring it up here as well. If we do it by IVs, you can see that this is what's good about this app. The Dewgong here, he's a triple S, so he's 100%, but you can see his combat points there as well. Is only 1,256. At maximum, he's only going to be 1,915. His moves, I don't have any of his good moves, and even if I was to power him up, he would never crack 2,000. That's based on the level that I am. When I hit level 40, he'll be 2,145, but I'm still only level 31, so I've got a long way to go before I even look at starting to power him up to get him over the 2,000 mark. So it's a good way to decide which Pokemon you're going to keep and which Pokemon you're going to discard. With the Pokemon as well, it is important to know that with your IVs and your combat points, you've got to try to decide for yourself which ones you're going to use. So if you get a CP10 Pokemon, and let's say it's even a Venusaur, a CP10 Pokemon, which is 100%, actually Venusaur is probably not a good example, like Caterpie. If you get a Caterpie CP10, its IVs are 100%, it would cost you so much to level him up to his that it's not even really worth keeping him. You're going to come across so many Caterpies that you're better off waiting for another Caterpie that has higher CP with a higher IV to keep as your Pokemon. So down the bottom here, you can see with the Butterfrees, like Caterpie's not even really a good Pokemon. Even at these 93s, 90 and 95% IVs, at their maximum, if we go back into the IV Go app, go back to numbers. Right, so these Butterfrees, 93%, maximum, they're only going to be 1,286. There's no point trying to level them up. I mean, they're good to keep because they're sitting at really high IVs, and I'm always going to keep at least 2 or 3 of my highest Pokemon, just to keep as part of the collection pretty much. There's no other real reason as to why I would keep it. I'm not going to use them. I'm not going to power them up, but it's just good to have because it's quite a good find. So if we go back in here, as we go through, I'll go through and just walk you through some of them. So at the moment, I'm only trying to keep Pokemon with IVs of 80% or higher. So when the game first came out, everyone was pretty much working out their best Pokemon based on their combat points. We now know that with the individual values of the Pokemon, potentially some of your lower CP Pokemon can become your best Pokemon. That's why you have to work out which ones you're going to actually keep and which ones you're going to discard. So once I actually learnt about the IVs, I went through, I worked out all the IV stats of all of my Pokemon, discarded a lot of them. Like if you can see up the top here, I increased my bag to 700 because I was at a point where I was just out grinding Pokemon all day, and I would come back, work out the IVs. I didn't have this app at that time, so I was writing them down and I was just catching so many, and it took me so long to work out the IV stats that I had to increase it because I was just holding so many Pokemon. So this app has been really great. It's been an absolute time saver, and I do recommend that you download the app if you can. So I'll quickly walk through some of the Pokemon here that I've got. As you can see, the Venusaur that I've got there is 91%, so he is going to be a beast. I'm still working on leveling him up. The 2 Bulbasaurs and the Ivysaur that I've got there is sitting on 82%, so they're good to keep, but I'm always looking for even better IV Pokemon. I did have 2 Venusaurs that I evolved, and when I actually discovered IVs, I went through and I worked them out. One was sitting at 35% and the other one was sitting at 65%, so keeping them was, I could not see the benefit in keeping them, so I definitely discarded them. The Charmanders here, I haven't come across a great deal of Charmanders. Fortunately, the ones that I have are both 93. I've got a Charmander and a Charmeleon. So later on I will work on grinding those out to get that Charizard. With the Squirtles, I've got Squirtles and Wartortles there. This Wartortle, which is actually my buddy, he's sitting at 91%, and he is probably the one at this point that I will level up to the Blastoise. As you can see, I'm sitting on 95 candies there, so I do need to get just a few more to level him up as well. Caterpies and Butterfrees, not really anything. Weedles, Cocooners and Beedrills, nothing. With the Pidgeys, I do have a few Pidgeots that I've hung on to, purely because when I do start taking over a great deal of gyms, I want to have some in my back pocket just to be able to chuck in there, so I'm not putting all my good Pokemon into gyms. So I've hung on to a few of them, but I will go through and discard the 80s and probably only keep the 90s and above. Same deal with Rattars, but even when you do evolve the Rattars, they're not ever going to be as strong as your Pidgeots. Same deal with the Fearos. So Ekings and Abras, I've got a couple 88%, not Abras, sorry, Arbok. With the Pikachus as well, 86, 82 and an 84%. So I have evolved that Raichu on an 84%, but then I came across an 86% Pikachu. This is why you do want to kind of hold off until you get those good Pokemon before you evolve. So hopefully when I do get enough candies, that 86 will be going up. But then again, I might get another 90% Pikachu in there as well. Sandshrews and Sandslashes have been quite difficult to come by. I haven't come across a great deal of them, and the ones that I've hatched from eggs haven't been great IVs. Out of all of them, the best one I've had is 83%, so I'm always on the lookout for good IV Sandshrews. With the Nidorans, Nidorinos, and Nidoqueens, as you can see, I've got a 93% Nidorina, but the Nidoqueen is 86%, so really as soon as I can, that Nidorino is going to get leveled up, evolved into a Nidoqueen. Same deal with the Nidorinos. The Nidoking there sitting on 93%. Clefairies and Clefables. Still looking for a 90% Clefable out there. The highest CP that I've got is 1,603. She's only sitting on 78%, but I have kept her because I think I caught that one in the wild, and she's just a good one to hang on to, even though she's at a lower CP. With the Vulpexes and Ninetales, so out of all of them, there's an 86 Ninetales there. Jigglypuffs, I've got a couple Jigglypuffs I still need to go through and work out the IVs of. But you can see the Wigglytuff here is sitting at 97% IVs. She's also got, her quick attack is not very good because it's pound, which is only 7. But you can see down the bottom there, she's got Hyper Beam as well, sitting at 120, so not bad. She's also got high hit points as well at 162, so not strong combat points, but I'll probably go through and power her up and max her out at some stage. Golbats, I mean, there's a 91% sitting there. I have got the Vileplume, but again, when I evolved him, he was sitting at like a 65%. So I've got an 88% there. I'm still working towards getting a stronger Vileplume. I discarded the last one because it was just insulting to keep there in my collection, because I wish I knew about IVs a lot earlier in the game. With your Paris and Parasect, so I've got the 91% there, 93% and an 86. Same with the Venomoth, there's what, 84% is the best one. 91% Dugtrio. With the Meowth, there's 95% Persian there. Psyduck's 93%, which should go to a Golduck. There's also a 91% Golduck there. Down here, these have been my favourite lately. The two Arcanines there. So that Arcanine that's sitting at 95% IVs is currently on 2,413 combat points, but I did come across a 97% IV Growlithe, which I've evolved into a Arcanine, and I'm currently working on leveling that one up to max him out before I go back to the 95% Arcanine. That other Arcanine is sitting in the gym at the moment, so I won't be able to power him up anyway, which is why I'm also working on the 97% IV Arcanine. Poliwhirls, Poliwags, Poliwraith, 95% Poliwraith there. With the Abras, I've got a 95% Kadabra there, which I will evolve into an Alakazam. That's probably the next one that I'll put on the Buddy system to work towards getting the final evolution in that. Same with the Machomps and Machokes, there's 91% there. Bellsprouts, 91% Victory Bell there, which I like. I mean, in the cartoons, I like it when James used to always use it and used to always chase after him. My daughter loves it as well, so I think he's a good Pokemon to have. With the Geodudes, Gravelers, and Golems, that Golem there sitting at 97%, and I got another 91% Graveler sitting in my back pocket there. Now, with the Ponytars as well, I've got some 88s, 86s, and 86s there. When I did the last video, we did actually hatch 2 Ponytars out of the eggs, and as I was going through before, I did notice that this Ponyta here is at 91%, so that has just become my highest IV Ponyta. So I'll definitely be going through and checking these out as well. There's Seal that we got from an egg as well, sitting at 93%. Execute sitting at 84%. That other Ponyta that we got, because we did get 2 Ponytas out of those eggs, they're both at 91%. Outside of that, that was the 5 eggs that we got. So we did get 3 high IV Pokemon out of that, and 2 decent ones as well, with the Meowth at 84 and the Execute at 84 as well. If we go back in here, the Slowbros, 93% and 84%. The Magnemite sitting there, 84% is the best one. Couple 86s and 88s. Hang on, there's some stuff popping. God dang, these just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I will go back and just catch them all in just a bit, but the phone was vibrating quite a lot. So if we go back in here, what were we up to? Golducks, yeah, we went to those. Ponyta. Seals, right? So with the Seals, I did get a 100% Seal, which I evolved into a Dewgong, which I did just touch base on that before as well. With the Grimers and the Mucks, I did end up catching a wild Muck, but again, it was only sitting at like 63% IVs. So I did have a 91% Grimer that I got from an egg, so I've evolved that into a Muck, and I'll keep powering him up. There has been, when the spawner locations changed, the one closest to my house has recently changed into a shelter spawner. So I have been picking up a lot of those recently, but I mean the highest IVs that I've got so far is 75%, which is at Cloyster. Gengars, 2 Gengars there. When the game first came out, I just went nuts on Ghastlies, trying to track them down, catching every single one that I found. The first Gengar I got was the 88% one, but then I did come across a 91% Ghastly, which I've turned into the second Gengar there, and I'll definitely be powering those up. Even though they're not strong combat point Pokemons, they are one of my favourite, and I definitely want to see them maxed out. Near work, there's the spawner locations there have recently changed into Onix. There's a double Onix spawn that kicks out there, so I've been picking up a few Onixes out at work. But as you can see, I'm currently sitting on an 84 and an 82% Onixes there. Drowsy, I've got a 91, an 80, and an 82% IV Drowsy, but the Hypno that I evolved is another 91% as well. And I'm definitely working towards evolving that second 91% Drowsy into a Hypno as well. With the Krabbies, still looking for like a 90% plus Krabby. So hopefully those 2 that are sitting out in the map at the moment will have good IVs. The Voltorbs and Electrodes, 88%, 84, 86, 86. The Execute, I did just pick up, I think it was an 84% Execute as well. So I'll definitely be evolving him, because the Executes into Executors, their combat points and even their IVs when you get them from eggs are quite high. So I'll definitely be evolving and leveling him up as well. We've got Cubones and Marowaks. There's 91% Cubone there, which I will evolve in another video. I want to do all the evolves in the same video. So later on, I'll go through and I'll do just a evolving episode where I'll go through and evolve some of the Pokemon here. Coughings, 70%, 77%. There's also an 80 there. Hopefully this 895 combat point coughing will be at a high IV because I do want a stronger wheezing. Rhydons and Rhyhorns, there's a 91% there. Two Chanseys both sitting at 86%. Tangler at 88%. Kangaskhan's have been a bit of a problem. They seem to pop up everywhere, but their IVs, the highest ones I've got is 68. And I've got another Kangaskhan there, but he's only sitting at low combat points, so I probably won't even bother checking his IVs on that. Horsies and Seadras, highest one is 86. Goldines and Sea Kings, 82, 86%. These Starmies, there's actually quite some good Starmies here. There's a 94% and a 91% Starmie there, and they're quite decent. I mean, for common Pokemon that you see all the time, I don't mind them, and I do like to hang on to them because they're one of the ones I will throw into the gyms rather than the Butterfrees and Beedrills and Raticates. Like, they're just not going to be strong enough. I want to try to put some of those more common, stronger Pokemon in there. With the Scythers, so before, out of my work, that spawner location was, when the game first started, a Scyther spawner. So I have picked up a couple of decent Scythers out there. 80% Jinx. Electro Buzzers, again at work, that was one of the spawners there. So I've got 86, 84 and 80% Electro Buzzers. Magmas, it's an 86 and 82%, but I'd really love like a 90+% IV Magma because I'm a fan of Magma and I really want to max one out, but you can see even at 86%, I think he might be, no, he's got a little bit of a ways to go, but he'll be pushing whether he cracks 2,000. The Pincers have kept a 91 and 86% Pinsir, and with the Pincers, the spawner location here was, before I think it was Magikarps, it was Pincers. Now, next we've got the Magikarps. So I've got a few decent IV Magikarps there, but the Gyaradoses, one's a 93%, one's 53%. You might ask me, why did I evolve a 53% Magikarp into a Gyarados? Well, this was before I learned what IVs was. This is a prime example of why you should wait for a decent IV Pokemon. So all these 86s, 84s, if I was to evolve one of those, they'd be better than this 53. So I've wasted like 400 candies on this Gyarados because I've got other Magikarps there which would have been better. With the EVs, hopefully that 755 combat point EV will be at good IVs because the EVs that I've got, I haven't had, like I've got an 84 there and an 80 and 82, but I got gypped and I got the Flareon and Jolteons and the Vaporeons. I've got a 73, 71 and a 73% IVs on those, but like I'd love 80 or plus on a Vaporeon to get him to be a beast. Porygon's at 95. Omnimite and Omnistars are the 80s and 82s. Kabuto's, I'm sitting on a 55. He's not a great Pokemon, but I do like the evolution into Kabutops, so I've got an 80% Kabutops there. The Aerodactyl is 75%. I've got a Snorlax sitting at 93%, so I'd really love some more Snorlax candies. Just haven't come across too many. His moveset is not the best. His main attack is Body Slam, and it's only sitting at 40. So, and Dragonairs, Dratinis, and Dragonites at Lilydale Lake, where I work. When the game first started, it was a Dratini spawner location. I thought Dratinis would be quite common because they're there at the lake all the time. I didn't take advantage of it. I didn't go and catch as many as I can. Now they are so hard to find around here that I'm struggling to come across them, and it is going to be an absolute grind to get that Dragonite. Anyway, that's the Pokemon that I'm sitting on at the moment. And if we just go into combat points here, combat power, sorry, we'll go straight back up the top, and you can see there the top 9, probably the top 12, they're all sitting above 2,000. So that is what I'm working on at the moment. I'm trying to keep the IVs above 80% and just focusing on those and powering those up. And hopefully you've learned a little bit from this video as well that you can apply to your own games. So that's it from now, and thanks for watching.